What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Check this out here. We have the Can-Am Bombardier Rotex DS650. One of my old customers hit me up and said, hey man, buddy of mine took this in on trade. The guy he got it from apparently... office editing the video on this DS650. I saw that my GoPro screwed up. So let's talk about a little bit what's going on with it. So basically, my customer took this on trade, and the guy who had it before him said he rebuilt the top end and put a new stator in it, but could never get it to run since. So he thought it was a timing issue. He thought maybe a couple other things. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and run through this. We're going to check the timing on it to see if he's actually out of time. We'll check the flywheel on it, make sure it's, you know, that it, when we do time it up, the mark is in the window, and that on top the cams are actually lined up properly. Again, GoPro's having problems. That is what's going on with this quad. We're going to check the timing out and see if we can't get this thing to fire up and run for this guy. I'm not sure what's going on with my GoPro here lately, but it's acting funny. I lost a whole entire video on a T-Boss 410. I replaced the starter clutch in and was checking out the charging system. But anyways, you can see it's got a lever here. Probably offer a aftermarket seat cover for this thing. Probably look pretty good if you can get one in the same kind, yellow and black. Let's get that down to the side. We're gonna go ahead and probably take the shroud off up here in the front. Get rid of this. We'll pull the gas tank. Let's check out the air cleaner real quick in this thing. Looks to be a K&N. It's not too dirty. It's not the greatest, but it's not too dirty. And that's pretty easy to access right back here. Just pull these rubber straps off. And I'm telling you, that looks like an Amazon carburetor on here. So, I don't know. We'll see what's going on with that. But let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead off camera, take all this stuff off, and then we're going to go ahead and gain access to the valve cover, get the spark plugs, two spark plugs out, and see what's going on with this timing. All right, so we got the gas tank off, and I'll never understand why BRP always has to have a bolt with a nut on the back. Why can't you just make it tapped or put a well nut in there or something? Let's get these spark plugs out. I do already have the, let's just see how tight. There's not even, really even spun on there. We'll have to check those later, see what's going on with that. Those are, might need to nip off a little bit on the end of those, because that one doesn't even feel like it's getting tight either. All right, so this one's got two spark plugs. So we're gonna go ahead and get the first one out of here, which wasn't very tight at all. And it's a D8EA, according to what's in here. I'll have to look up to actually see what the proper spark plug's supposed to be. And then these little guys down here, this one was tough. That's awful dark. That is awful dark. But this one down here, that plug was, man, that was tough. That one, I don't think it's even tight. I'm gonna have to grab an extension. Yeah, that one was even tight. Let me grab an extension so I can get that out of there. I think a 3-inch extension ought to do just fine. And that one's awful dark too. We probably will replace these with brand new spark plugs. I have a ton. So next I'm gonna go ahead and pull the valve cover off, and then we'll go ahead and start to rotate this thing over and look for our marks here for TDC, and check it here and check it over here on this side of the cams. So it looks to be 10. And down here at the 6mm Allen down there. So remember that when you wanna turn this motor over. My 10's of course way over here. Man, I don't even think these guys were tight. I mean, like seriously. Let's see if I can do that with. Yeah, I just broke it loose with my hand. So, I mean, it's hard to get out, but there weren't even like, probably not even 10 Newton meters like they're supposed to be. Let's get all these bad boys out of there. I don't think they're don't think any more different lengths that I'm aware of. I'm just kind of checking them all compared to each other. Yeah, those are all the same length. Let's go ahead and get this valve cover off. Let me walk over to the other side. Oh, there is one more over here I missed. I'm actually going to bring you over to the other side, matter of fact, because that's where the cam sprockets are. And while I turn over that crank, you guys can be over here watching these cam sprockets. There is some junk in the way. Let's see what that wire runs up to. May have to cut that out so I can actually see what's going on. But they got a lot of wiring exposed there. All right, so valve cover's off. Let's take a look. Now these will be pointed, these dots will be pointed straight up and down, and then this mark and that mark will be aligned in the middle, I believe is what it was telling me in the service manual. I might have to double check that. Okay. Decompression mechanism. Swinging it in and out. Let's take a look at this top end here. It must be certain words that trigger this thing to be weird and stop doing what I'm doing. I don't want to say any words because it may stop, you know, taking visual pictures here. So these are these are shim over buckets. So if you guys seen those, this is a shim over bucket. And then you have your decompression. This thing will fling out once it starts going. See, like that, that'll go down. This decompression will go down, push that open to make it crank over easier. Now you can see it'll sling out like that. That is in good shape. Shim over buckets. These shims I do not have in stock. These are kind of like the older Triumphs, have the big shim over bucket like that. And there's a specialty tool you can do. You can put it in there and it'll actually push this open and you can pop that shim out. Sometimes you can do it too with a screwdriver. But boy, I tell you what, they feel like they're moving. So I think the clearances aren't too bad. Let's see, that one moves. Kind of a hard angle to get in there to me. And that one moves. So that's good. So I'm gonna put you on the other side. I'm gonna rotate this thing over till I find the mark over here with my, where'd I put that 6 mil Allen. I'll rotate this motor over till it reaches top dead center and I'll watch for the, there's the exhaust. So I don't feel it touching there. Okay. So here and there, that could be, that's the exhaust. This should be going down for the intake stroke. See the lobes, it's the intake. And then they should be pointed just about like, a little too far. It should be like right about that vicinity, roughly. I can't see, I'll have to see on the dot. Let me grab a flashlight over here. Did I bring it with me? Is it in my pocket? I don't know what I did. My little flashlight. Oh, here it is on my workbench. So I was gonna put you over there, but let's get these marks lined up here. There is a dot, and that dot should be in the middle of the window. I don't know if you guys can see that on the GoPro. So we'll hold this here, try to hold this here while I do this. Whoa. Right there is the center of the window. Again, you can see that dot. We'll check up here on the, that is TDC. I can see down into the spark plug hole. I can see the piston. Let's walk over here to this side. Take a look and check these guys out. Okay, so that is up. you can see that one's up, and those two lines are parallel. So it's definitely not timing as far as that goes. Timing up here is good on the cams. Perfect. Actually, it's perfect. Perfect. It's right there's the arrow. There's see the little line. This has like a little arrow built onto it there and there. It's pointed there, and we're lined up with the dot down here. So that's cool. That's great news. That is really good news. So what I'm gonna do, I gotta throw a charger on this battery back here real quick because it's awful low, and it's definitely not the right battery for this unit. I can tell you that. I'm kind of looking around to see if I saw some broken wires or anything. But they said they put a new top in it and it hasn't ran since. But I'm looking in there and there's carbon on that piston. It's kind of worrisome. Maybe I will throw a jump pack on here and we'll do a compression test real quick. As always, got my trusty compression tester kit from Cornwell. Like I said, I've had it for years, KA-2506. Let's go ahead and throw in our adapter. And I got one spark plug in there. That one there. Make sure that seals up good. All right, there's that. Let me grab a jump pack for the battery. It does have power. But not very much. It barely runs the fan when you flip it on. All right, so let me see. Positive. Negative, there we go. Turn jump pack on. Okay, let's see if that makes a difference on the fan. Yeah, you can hear it. All right, so we'll put it right here, I think. We'll try, and we'll see what kind of compression we get here. Throttle wide open, key on, and start button. Ooh, it's not wanting to turn, that's for sure. And I got it cranking too. Let me grab my 100 amp. This is supposed to be 12 volt 1000, but let me grab my other battery charger, try that. Sometimes that one works just a little bit better. It's got a 100 amp start. All right, let's let the pressure off of that again. Let's try this again. Oh, throttle wide open. That doesn't even have enough booty to even do it with that. So my other one does do it, but it got up to 120, but it's cranking really slow. So I'm gonna charge this battery for a while, and we might be able to throw a spark plug in here and see if we actually have spark also. But that's what they told me, is that they thought they had timing off, because ever since he rebuilt the top end, but it's not making any sense. So let's try my jump pack one more time. This is a good jump pack too, and it's pretty much fully charged. All right, so let's throttle wide open. All right, so we're at 155. Okay, drop that down. Let's try again. Turn it off, turn it back on. I see it's probably getting low. Maybe Let me unplug it. Yeah, I see it blinking. That's kind of weird. Turn it off. Plug it back in. Turn it on. And boy, that sucked a lot of juice out of that thing. Wow. But now I got nothing. That's interesting. All right, well, I'm gonna charge this jump pack. You saw we had 160, 55 PSI compression. So let's go ahead and figure out what else we can do here. Well, everything around here is on a charge. So I might just wait till tomorrow or the next day to continue on with this video. All right, guys, so the battery's fully charged with this thing. There is gonna be some footage in this video that is a little awkward because I was looking at some that I downloaded already to my computer and this silly thing has shut off. But let's go ahead, since the battery's charged, let's go ahead and do a full compression test on this thing. Like, let's go ahead and see what this thing holds. Now, the decompression mechanism is kind of working, but you can see I could push it in and out, and it shouldn't be able to do that. That should hold pretty good. Valve clearances on intake and exhaust of both 4 to 6 thousandths. Okay, remember that. Now, I measured this thing earlier, and I think some of them were 12, 8. So I may have to go in here and re-shim this thing to make it want to do what it's supposed to do. But we're going to go ahead and check compression first, just to see what we have. Let's see. Key on, compression gauge. I need to hold throttle wide open, so I might as well just try to get this guy in there the best I can. Oh, excuse me, hopefully you can see that. And throttle wide open. Ooh, that is a horrible, horrible throttle. That thing, oh, it's hitting the hand grip. Okay, there we go. All right, throttle wide open, here we go. All right, $160. You can see it's kind of struggling there a little bit still. So 160 pounds, that's pretty good. And again, like I said, I was looking up in the manual and the valve clearance is 4 to 6 thou. And I can tell you right now, we're nowhere near close to that. Look at that, see that? How easy that was for me to flick out of there? Shouldn't be like that. So we're gonna go ahead and bump this. That is pretty much TDC right there, compression stroke. That's why both the lobes are facing away. Turn the key off. Let's put away the decompression, put away the compression tester. We'll check these valve clearances again, but I know the valve clearances were way out of control. I was just doing some stuff off camera while I was doing a few things around the shop. But let's get this back in here. So we got 160 pounds of compression, which is good. Too much stuff. Let me grab a notebook and a piece of paper and so I can write these valve clearances down. Marker will work. It's like 9 degrees today. I'm in the shop, but I mean, it's still freezing cold in here, even with my little heater going. All right, so let's grab this. So 4 to 6 thou, but I already know, I mean, I can see the gap in there is huge. So I'm gonna start with like 10 over here on this guy. This is the exhaust side. So 10 don't fit. Let's try 10 over here. 10 falls right into there. 9 thou, so that's gonna be 9 thou. Let me write that down. On the exhaust. In and EX 0.009. It's a little big. And let's go to a 12 thou for this one. 12 thousandths fits in there. Let's try 13. And 13 does not. So that's a 12 thousandths on that first on the first valve clearance on that side. All right, so let's go to the intake. That was on the exhaust. Let's see, the intake looks a little bit tighter. So let's start with 8th valve. Pretty typical measurement I want to start with. A lot of things are 8/1000ths. So that slides in. And it does slide. Okay, yeah, and it does slide in that one. So let's jump up to 9. Nine doesn't go, and 9 doesn't go. So both of those are 8/1000ths, which is 2 thou out at the highest level. So we'll definitely have to get some more 002.002. So we know the valves are definitely a country mile out, especially this one over here at 12 thou. This one's at 9 thou, and they're supposed to be between 4 and 6. I like to set them about 5 thou. So I'll have to order up, I'm probably gonna just order up a whole entire shim kit of those because I don't have those here, and I have everything else underneath the sun. Some of your older Triumphs use that, some of your oldies use those. So I will just have to get online and order probably that kit from Hot Cams, most likely where that'll come from. So the next thing let's check, since we got the spark plug, one spark plug out, make it easy to turn over at least. We'll check for spark on each one of these coils. Key on. All right, that one's got good spark. Is this one? I don't know if this is one coil or 2 coils on this. It's probably just one coil because it's the big single. So let's get that there. Hopefully I don't get shocked. Couldn't see that myself. And we got spark there, so that's good. So we know we got spark. So we're good on spark. Well, what could our next step be? What could our next step be to check? Because he said this thing did not fire up and run, but we got compression, we have spark. I know the valve clearances are off, but we should be able to at least get this thing to fire up, you would think. All right, so it's really cold out here in the shop, and I had to, my GoPro having big problems with SD card error because it's too cold. So I working on this thing here. We're going to try to transfer from my Android phone to my Mac computer. But anyways, checking top dead center on this thing. I turned it over some gas. It was backfiring. I'm like, what could it be? I got to looking, and the mark right there was setting just like this. I'm like, okay, I see the timing mark in the window at top dead center. It's kind of weird because this little mark there, it should not line up to fire off the coils. That's a trigger to tell the coils when to fire, right? Tell the ECU to tell the coils when to fire. So it's like, okay, let's go on and pull the flywheel. Well, here's our culprit right there. Woodruff key is sheared off, and it's been sheared off for a hot minute. So what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to knock that out since I have this thing on top dead, well, I think top dead center. I'm going to have to check down in the crank area here because this is all stripped out now. It's the number 6, and I cannot do anything with that, so I'll have to have the nut on here, turn this over, make sure we're at TDC down here, and here we'll get that out, put a new Woodruff key in, put the flywheel back on, and see if that cures our problem. Again, my GoPro is over there. I was pulling a carburetor apart, and it said, nope, too cold in the shop. Screw you, SD card error. So we're going to try to do it from the Android phone, and hopefully it's good video when I transfer it over to my Mac computer through, I guess it's AirDrop or whatever the heck it's called there. So we'll see how it turns out, man. All right, so I went down the road and got some Woodruff keys. They all measured out the same. Hopefully these work. We're going to go ahead and throw these in. Now I need to clean that up a little bit, but I want to see if this Woodruff key is going to fit in there like it should. I measured the one that was in there, and I measured these, and it's showing me the same. So let's try to tap that one down in there. Make sure it stays in there. Oh, drop that in the oil. Well, in the oil is not bad, I guess. I just want to make sure this sets down in here like it's supposed to. Apparently it's going to because I keep getting the oil stuck on it. Now again, I am recording this from my telephone. Hopefully, and the good part is about this, I can zoom in, guys. My GoPro, I couldn't zoom in, but you can see what's going on. So we're trying to get that back in. Let me go ahead. I'm going to take some air. I'm going to blow that off, and then we'll hopefully be able to get this thing fired up and running here shortly. So we'll put that on. I'll torque this all back down. I'll put the top back on, and then I'll fire this thing up. So I'm going to blow this off. I'm going to do some of this off of camera because I don't know how much memory my phone has left. So I'm going to put the Woodruff key in, flywheel back on, and double check timing. We'll check that as soon as I get that all together. And then make sure we're at top of the center, check timing, and then I'll put that side cover on. All right, so the side cover's back on. Turn my flashlight on, and you can see right up there, maybe, you might be able to see it, that mark. That is your timing mark. It should be in the center right there. So if we walk around, take a look at these cams. There's your timing marks. Yeah, that's not right. So we're gonna have to we'll have to pull the cams, we'll have to actually pull the timing chain tensioner off back here first. Take the cam towers loose, reset the cams back to, they will line up, each arrow will line up with both of those, if you can see those. And I'll reset the timing on that. Again, I'm not gonna show you on my phone while I do this because I don't have a bunch of memory on this thing. Hopefully the voice is coming through halfway decent. But so we can see that timing's out. Woodruff key was sheared off. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the timing chain tensioner. I'll take out the cam towers, and then I'll go ahead and reset the cam timing. All right, so we got the side case back on. Again, you might be able to see the timing mark in there, right there. Let's walk around to the other side. You see the cam lobes are facing away from each other. Let's take a walk around the back. And then over here, timing is pretty much spot freaking on. Timing chain tensioner's back in. I'm gonna put the valve cover on this thing, throw the exhaust back on it, and throw a little gas to it, which I already have hooked up. Man, there's too much stuff in the way. That's in the way. That's in the way. But anyways, put the spark plug back in it. Put the inspection caps back on it. Hook up the stator, the pickup coil. Hook up the temperature sensor, all this stuff. Hook all that stuff back up so it's all there. Put the exhaust back on, and let's see if this thing fires off. I just realized I was doing it in portrait mode, not landscape mode as far as recording goes. I apologize about that. So we got everything back on. We still know we need to adjust the valves on this thing. That's a hands down deal. We're gonna have to do that, but everything else is hooked up. We have fuel running to it. Let's turn that all the way on. I know there's fuel in there already. Not sure what idle is set at. Never heard this thing run. We know the Woodruff key was broke off. We do have a battery. We have a battery jumper pack on it right now. So let's go ahead. Timing set right. Anything else? We have oil in it. We lost just a little bit of oil, not a big deal. Exhaust is back on. I don't think I hooked up the crank sensor. I might have, I don't remember. Yep, I hooked the crank sensor back up and the stator back up. I don't have the breather back on top of the crankcase here, so let's go ahead and get that bad boy back down on there. There we go. All right, so let's see if this thing fires off or if it blows up. I don't know. All right, let's grab the choke. Pull the choke out. Guys off of here real quick. Now again, we're on my phone, so motor sounds pretty good. Not loud, a little loud on top, but not too horrible. Definitely have big clearances there. Not sure. It definitely looks like it might have a touch of smoke, but we can definitely see all the oil come burning off of the head pipes when we touch it. So that looks pretty dang good. I'm pretty happy with that. I cannot complain. We will check coolant again. I know there's coolant in there. I have already looked at that. The fan is on a toggle switch. So I'm freaking pumped up. I'm glad I found that broken the Woodruff key. It didn't make sense what was going on. And it's running. Let's see if it takes a little bit of throttle. to check the charging system on this thing too, but I'm not going to worry about that in this video. I'm sure the battery is probably charging. The stator looked like it was a brand new stator. It's getting a little nasty here. So let's go ahead and turn the key off. So the next thing I'm going to do it off camera. I am going to put this all back together, and we'll go ahead and take it for the first test ride. I am going to let it warm up a little bit. I will put it all back together, take it for a ride. It will have to come back apart so we can do the valves on this thing, but I'm not going to do that on camera, guys. You've seen, I didn't show you how the cams came out, but pretty simple way the cams came out. Just put it on top dead center, pull all the bolts on top, take out the timing chain tensioner first before you release the bolts on top after you get the top dead center. If the cams come out really easily, that's pretty simple, and you can access the top of the buckets right there, no problem. I know I didn't show it on camera. The only reason I didn't, because I'm recording on my phone right now because it is too cold for my GoPro. Again, guys, need a service manual, hit up emanualonline.com. Use my discount code LimitlessPower22 at checkout to save 22% at checkout. So I'm going to throw this thing back together, and in the morning, we'll take this thing for a test ride. All right, so let's see here. It is running. I don't know about the view. Let's walk out here and open up my shop door. Whew. Grab a couple ramps. Let's shove this bad boy off. I have no idea what angle you're going to have. I have no idea if the thing is going to move. I fixed a leak in the rear tire. It does have rear brakes. And I don't know how long this GoPro is going to run for. And I have no idea how good my voice is being picked up. So, let's hopefully definitely want to adjust the clutch here. My goodness. And I can't. Okay, whatever. We got front brakes. The back brakes suck. Woo, and it is, boy, that is all over the place. Everything feels pretty good as far as that goes, but we're not going to ride this thing long. This thing is kind of sketchy. Yeah, the front end is definitely not lined up. It throws me all over the place. Wow. But that's all right. We just want to make sure it ran. Moved. It did what I said it would do. Woo! Yeah, man, that is definitely cold outside. Being like maybe 9 degrees if we're lucky. Oh, ooh, cold. Well, it starts, it runs, the valves need to be adjusted. The front end, man, maybe the front left tire might be a little low on pressure, but definitely smoking off of the header pipe wrap, it looks like down there. All right, so I'm gonna call it finished for the video anyways. Definitely not finished working on it. I fixed, I don't know if you guys heard me or not with my mic so low. Right rear tire had a leak around the bead. Fixed that, it was bent. Back brake does not work. That will need to be bled if the customer wants it bled. And the front left tire is a little low on pressure, and it would throw that front end gnarly all over the place. And the clutch lever needs to be adjusted just a little bit more, needs a little more free play. The release is way out there. It's got good power. I only got to third gear ripping down the driveway, and the driveway is pretty long. And like I said, I don't want to go flying down the road on this thing. I don't know a whole bunch about the machine, but I know we figured out what was wrong. Wood drift key was broken. causing the flywheel to turn. And when the customer, that apparently the guy who bought this, bought it from a guy who rebuilt it and said he couldn't get it to run. So he thought it was maybe timing. I checked timing and the cams looked right. Everything looked good there. The crank was top dead center, but that wood drift key broke, slid the flywheel. And once I got that fixed, I put a new wood drift key in, put it all back together, and we lined it up with the timing mark. It did not line up in the cam, so the cams are out. Fixed both the intake and exhaust cam. Thing fires right up. It's charging at 13.9 at an idle, so that's good. The battery is definitely the wrong size, so yeah, man, I'm gonna call this one done for the video. Again, I'm not gonna show you me shimming the valves on this thing. I have to order the shims for this anyways. I don't have them, that style in stock, so I need to order a set of those. And then what else? I may bleed the rear brake. Simple stuff you guys can do, just bleed it. If it's bad, then we'll rebuild the rear master. If it's not available to rebuild, we'll try to find another one that can fit so we can have rear brakes on this thing. Again, guys, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Give the video a thumbs up or a thumbs down. A lot of craziness happened with this cold weather. You're gonna see stuff from my phone. You saw stuff from my phone straight up, sideways, all that crap. Again, I apologize about all the mess. It is cold as crap. It's like 3 degrees right now. And yeah, so I'm gonna call this one done. If you haven't subbed, please do. Again, leave a like. And again, I'm an affiliate, emmanuelonline.com. Use discount code Limitless22, Limitless Power 22 at checkout to save 22%. I'll drop links below if I can find a service manual for this one. If not, follow my other ones. You can find other stuff there. Oh, you find me on Facebook at Limitless Power Sports Service Repair. TikTok, that it is back and probably going to be back at Limitless Power Sports SER&REP, which is service and repair. And then if you need to get a hold of me, you can email me at limitlesspowersports78@gmail.com. Again, everyone, I appreciate everyone who's subbed. We're climbing the ranks here. We're getting close to 6,000 subs, which is awesome. And again, I'll catch you guys on my next upload.